Hi, hello. Welcome to our workshops, Start Your Career with AI. Today we will have two wonderful speakers. First one will be Paweł, our co-founder and an expert in the AI field as well, who will speak briefly about will AI replace you in the next 5 years? So a pretty handful informations regarding the future of the technology, the state of the AI art AI, and also um, how actually the industry is changing. The second part of our today's workshops will be with Arjun Patels, who is winner of our Cohere Hackathon and also one of our mentors. He will speak about some tools which can replace your waste of time with AI. So he will show some pretty useful tools for people who are not developers, for creative people as well. So just to engage you into this pretty fast booming industry. So without any further ado, I want to greet Paweł, and stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Marek. It's a pleasure to be with everybody today. I'm super happy that you decided to join us for this stream. And I must say that I've been following, obviously, the AI market for years now, and trying to predict, and quite effectively predicting, where the market will head. So what I will share with our audience today is a really a midterm and a long-term prediction on where AI is going and why is it important to really get into artificial intelligence right now. So I will share my screen, and then please let me know once it is visible to everybody. Can you see it? Yes, perfect.
Yes, we can.
Perfect.
Please.
A bit about us. So at New Native, the owner of LabLab.ai, we utilize quantitative methods to identify and forecast technology changes. And this brings the question, really, will AI replace you? And there's a simple answer that we will start. I'll give you the answer straight off in the beginning. Not if you start your career with AI. And you've just caught the best time to start with AI. So there's not that there's never been a better moment to do it than today. So AI is really changing the way we build and operate software. And it's very important to understand how does that impact the global economy, because you are part of the global economy if you're starting to work with AI. A lot of top talent is actually leaving big technology companies right now for smaller ventures, which means that there's a lot of room to actually join bigger companies. And there's a lot of room to work with people that really know a lot of data, they know a lot of process, they have a lot of insider knowledge from big tech companies, and you can start working with them. AI is also on this tremendous journey. So specifically inside artificial intelligence, neural networks and models that are called transformers have drastically scaled their performance over the last 24 months. So I think that's one of the crucial elements why it's a perfect moment to get into AI right now. And this has specific impact. So actually AI is becoming industrialized. So it's instantly usable for many companies, for many individuals. And regardless if you're an architect or you're a developer or you're a gardener, internal designer, if you are a writer, social media specialist, AI will impact your life in the next 24 months. And it's a hell of a ride, actually. So you should be ready. You should buckle up. You should be prepared. Yeah. So why is it important? Because we know that you can build AI native software 10 times faster right now. And this has tremendous impact in terms of how people start to think about, okay, how can I solve this problem? Like when you come across any problem right now and you're sitting in front of a computer or you're holding your phone, any problem that you come up across, you will be able to solve that problem with artificial intelligence, or at least drastically improve the speed and the cost in which this problem is solved. And this will be the same for whether you're building a startup. So if you want to start your career with AI and build an idea, build a startup, or you're already inside an organization and you want to level up, you want to build your competence level with artificial intelligence, there is room to improve. And this is the craziest thing about artificial intelligence today, is that when you get in it right now, you start building and learning today, it will progress so rapidly for you. So your skill level will explode. And this is an extremely important element of starting to build with artificial intelligence. About us a little bit more, like how can you get started? So this is one idea. Go to join 15,000 people. Basically there's almost 1,000 teams, and you can build anything in AI that your heart desires. So you can learn and start your career very, very quickly by just going to lablab.ai and signing up for one of the events. There will be a team of mentors and team of supporters, experienced team members, and effectively they can onboard you into any technology that you wish. And if you build something really great, we invite you to actually also join our pre-seed accelerator program, so you can effectively build your startup and join our accelerator. And we are there daily to support you. So Matthias, Simon, who are our co-founders, my co-founders, they're really brilliant people, and they can actually get to help you start your career with AI together with me. So what are the changes really? And what are we thinking when we say that the world is going to change because of artificial intelligence? So AI, it's sometimes called machine intelligence. It's intelligence that's demonstrated by machines, and it allows computers to create functions or identify correlations in data. Because of the speed in which it conducts these activities, it is unparalleled in efficiency, cost, and result. So it's not something that is up for debate. These are basic facts. The use of artificial intelligence or machine intelligence in computers and other machines. So before, like even a few years ago, it was never automatic. So it always required the knowledge of coding languages, and it required command-specific knowledge. So this is drastically changing right now. There is no need to know a lot of information to get started with AI. And the reason for this is a technology called AI transformers. So you might have just stumbled on lately in a magazine article or a blog post or anywhere in a YouTube video about the thing that is called generative AI. So AI transformers are generative AI. And it all started 2016 with a very, very innovative research paper called Attention is All You Need. So fast forward today, traditional AI has leveled up x8 in the last 24 months, and generative AI or transformers have leveled up 275x in the last 24 months. So this means today, right now, this is the first day when you realize everything is changing and the game will be different. So until now, there was a lot of hype about artificial intelligence. So you might have heard AI this, AI that, and it was never real until late 2019. And then this year, at the end of this year, we are witnessing a transformation of how we interact with computers. And this will have severe, long-lasting, multi-year impact on everybody that is working with computers or any form of technology. There are specific technological elements that are causing this. So this is not just because models are getting bigger and we're getting better at understanding them. We know that hardware performance is also accelerating. So it's almost like a stacking follows that, or is actually exceeding the speed of the capital availability. So the capital needs to catch up. So what this means for you is that whenever you join any company or start working with artificial intelligence today, in 24 months, there will be more money in it. There's no way to lose if you start building with artificial intelligence today. And just to show you what it means to accelerate so rapidly. So when you think about the amount of money that's needed to train AI, that is also exploding. So the computation requirements are actually going higher, higher, and higher. But the cost of training the AIs is actually dropping. So this means that the performance is going up, the capacity of the models is going up, but the actual cost of training AI is dropping drastically. This means that everybody will have an AI. Not today, not tomorrow, but in a few years, if you will not understand how to use AI for your benefit, it will be very, very hard for you or for anybody on the planet to actually compete in the workspace. And I want to show you a few examples that actually empower you and give early adopters an unfair advantage. So these will not be very specific. They will be very general just to get you onboarded into the world of AI. So this is an example where we see content creation. So you basically ask artificial intelligence, in this case GPT-3, to create a long-form, medium-style article that has a specific subject around the startup ecosystem. And you can see that instantly the system recognizes the request and writes down the article, and the article will be extremely high quality. So this impacts copywriters, this impacts content creators, writers, storytellers, right? It also has tremendous impact on day-to-day tasks. So when you think about creating any task, in this case, let's say your boss asks you to sort all the countries according to continent or any financial data that needs to be sorted. You can basically ask the AI, you just give all the data in any unstructured format and you write down the specific command, and the instruction is basically list all of the countries according to continents and separate them by commas. And the function that would normally take hours to perform for any human, without any coding skill, can be instructed to an artificial intelligence engine to perform that task. And one of the biggest disruptors that's coming is coding. So it's no secret today in the coding communities that tools like GPTchat, Codex, Copilot, and Google models have just completely changed the game in terms of what it means how to code and what it means how to understand function. But just for people that have not seen it in action before, you can basically now use plain language to instruct artificial intelligence to create something, and the code will be written automatically. So you can actually say, create a pink circle in the middle of the square. And you can see on the right-hand side, the code is executed very naturally, and the pink circle is created. Now we can ask, when hovering my mouse above the circle, animate it to twice its size. And the code is executed. So think about it and turn it into a square. So think about the consequences of creating graphical art or creating user interface. If you can be detailed enough to explain your idea to the AI, you can actually have the code executed by artificial intelligence. What this means that expertise is still super relevant, and you need to know what you want and how to describe it, but the speed of execution of the underlying function has drastically changed to a level that is unattainable, and unattainable by any human. So humans, unfortunately, don't stand a chance in the speed of which the tool is working, but they still need to be there to know what is the outcome that is desired. And one other example that's very cool is that we can, for example, see an SQL request, just natural language written, and the AI goes into a database structure and basically retrieves the query. So this is relevant for whenever you would normally go to a support ticket in a company and ask the developer team to retrieve a data set out of a database. That whole process does not need to exist anymore if you use AI. And visual artist, and here I think this is the one that strikes the most into the imagination of our audiences, is where we have DALL-E, or where we have Midjourney, Stable Diffusion based, and we can basically use natural language, so text prompts, we can now use to actually create specific graphical design. So here we are asking for a Shiba Inu dog wearing a beret and a black turtleneck, and the photo should be realistic. So obviously anybody that tried to put a turtleneck on a Shiba Inu know that it's very difficult. So this is not a real photo, and no animals were harmed during the creation of this video. Also, we did try to put sunglasses on a Shiba Inu, and they don't like it, so don't try it at home. But you can maybe create an interior design for your living room, or you want to change the color of your couch, or you would like to design a new car or a pair of shoes. This is where this technology is heading to allow you to achieve these results. So, the conclusion: artificial intelligence has become usable. And this means that today we are all builders. Gone is the day where you had an idea and you couldn't build it. You can build anything you like right now. You can build a snowman that is a square snowman. And if you've ever seen a snowman, it's usually quite round. And you don't need to do that. You can just build a square snowman. You can ask DALL-E or Midjourney to build a square snowman for you, and they will do it. And you can then execute code for the snowman to start to walk. And it's as simple as learning some basic prompting. And this means that we are all builders now. This has consequences also socially. So building actually makes us grow. Yeah, like when you build something, you're very proud. So these are my kids. These are not anybody else's kids. And my son in the first photo, and in this photo as well. and they've built an igloo, and they're very proud. And when you build something with artificial intelligence, it gives you a feeling of such immense power and such immense pleasure that you just want to keep on building. And that's the real power of artificial intelligence, is that it keeps you building. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. You can build together, right? So because this is all done in an online environment, you can actually find people across the world that share your passion, and you can build together. So for me, it really brings the fun forward, and it brings the internal child out of all of us, where we can start to write anything we like. We can start to paint anything we like, take a photo of anything we like, and then actually turn that into functioning businesses, right? And this means for me is that we have entered the era of the builders. The builders will be our future. And the question that you have in front of you is, are you a builder? Or can you become a builder with artificial intelligence? Because if you can achieve that, if you can start to build with AI, then you will never be alone, and you will never have to worry about a job or a career. And that's my honest advice to everybody. So whether you're in Silicon Valley, just quit your job and start a career with AI, or you got fired, and that's happening in a large scale. So just in tech companies, there's 140,000 people laid off in 2022, and I'm sure across the world, from Australia through Indonesia towards India, Africa, Europe, South America, and the US, there will be a wave of people getting laid off because of the slowdown of the economy. So this is your single biggest opportunity in life to start to build something with AI, or to get your career going with artificial intelligence. So this is a huge shift. So don't think it will not affect you. It will affect everybody. Just in the next 24 months, 85 million people, in the next 5 years, 85 million people will get displaced by artificial intelligence. But that doesn't mean that AI will replace you. It actually means that more than 100 or almost 100 million jobs will be created, and the biggest business will be for the people that reskill and upskill. There's nothing better that you can do, because there's a growing demand, not a decreasing demand. We need more people that will build with AI. We actually need 100 million people that will build with AI. And we're on track to help you with that. And you should definitely join us, because we just have 15,000 today, but we are wanting to get that 100 million people to build with us. Now, what's the kind of easy output to think about? If you use artificial intelligence, your productivity increases by 70%. And that's today. So today you start by learning the basics of using transformer models, generative AI models, and in many cases, whatever your job is, your productivity skyrockets. Now, this is only the beginning, because in the next years, that will actually double. So you will be able to increase your productivity year on year, and it will not slow down. And whether you're a software developer or an accountant or a bookkeeper or a lawyer or a paralegal, or you're working in admin support or in the office, or you're a farmer, if you start to use AI, your productivity will go through the roof. And this means that you will just be better at what you are doing. And this explosion of productivity is happening right now. It's happening in a lot of ways in very developed countries like Sweden, where our headquarters is at New Native AB, and in the US, where we do the majority of our work. But it actually goes across the world, to Asia, to Europe, and we believe that if people start to learn AI across the world, this graph will not be true. It will actually be the same in Singapore and in Indonesia and in Brazil and in the US. So our productivity will skyrocket across the world. So this is the era of the AI maker. And it doesn't really pick like where you're from. You can be from any ethnic background, you can be of any gender, you can be of any material status, and you can get to use AI basically today. And doing that through us is the way to do it, because that's the best way to do it. But there's hope, like there's a lot of excitement and hope. So people are building careers in AI across the whole industry spectrum. And we see hundreds and hundreds of new companies and old companies creating new technologies with artificial intelligence. And these are billion-dollar companies. Yeah. So in many cases, we are experiencing a real explosion of where you can get your skill set ready around artificial intelligence and join some of these companies into the future. I will stop the stream right now, and basically, I will be happy to take any questions if they're on this. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Pavel, for a great talk about the state of AI and how we should start and join the AI community, the AI technology. As you all know, in LabLab we organize hackathons where people can, during these 3 or 7 days, create really interesting solutions, like for example, interface which allows you to create with Stable Diffusion videos. Or 2 days ago we had on a talk a team which created healthcare assistant for mental health. So, and these are just only 2 examples from over 700 prototypes models created during our hackathons. But Pavel, I have a questions from our community. So first one is, how much math is needed to be a good AI engineer?
So it's actually, if you want to go deeper and become a data scientist, then actually you should be good at math. But the most important thing is that you understand patterns. So you can determine and understand patterns and understand how computers work. So those are the elements that really make a great data engineer. The other element is that you're super, super flexible in your approach, because the technology is changing so rapidly that you can really learn something today and it becomes obsolete tomorrow. So I would say that your ability to learn is more important than your ability just to calculate. We have computers that allow us to calculate, yeah? But if you can learn and adopt very quickly, you will make a great data engineer.
Thank you very much. And second question, currently, which is in more trending, image processing or NLP?
So that's a very, very, very hard question to answer. So I would say that NLP is the much bigger market moving forward. People understand image processing much better. It's a much better proliferated technology, so it's much more spread. But remember that NLP is behind DALL-E and Stable Diffusion. So large language models and transformers enable the functioning of graphical models. So if you want to learn something, I would definitely go for NLP.
Okay, and the second part of the question is, how could we connect these both together and build a project out of it?
So that's a very good question. So definitely go to lablab.ai and sign up for the hackathon that's starting on Friday, you will be using DALL-E GPT-3. You'll be using Codex. You can connect other models like YOLO and other models that you come up with. And effectively, what you do is you have to think about a problem that you want to solve and the most effective way that you want to solve it in. And then you pick the technologies and understand how to connect them. So actually, we've done a bunch of tutorials, so you can actually visit the lablab.ai tech page if you want. And in those tutorials, you have the basic things, how to connect. During the events themselves, you can actually ask mentors, and they will be able to give you detailed explanations. And for obvious reasons, you can just Google it as well, right? So just Google it, and you will be able to do it. But it's actually now becoming easy, I would say, to merge multiple models. And Arjun actually did this. So he merged a language model and a stable diffusion model in one of the projects that he did, and probably he'll talk about that later. But actually, that's the very, very nice way that you can do it. So Arjun probably will give you some ideas as well.
Okay, and last question for you. Can you suggest few projects which could combine both image processing as well as NLP?
Yes, definitely. So we've seen a number of these. Anything that is connected with medical diagnostics. So reading an image of a skin change, or a radiology image, or an image of your eye, or an image of any other element, and then connecting the understanding of what is on that image with an explanation, right? So it's not enough to look at the image. You also have to be able to write and communicate to your user in a very accessible way what's on that image. So that's an obvious, all the medical field is ripe for this, and there's so many products already out there. But what I really think is that there's more ways that we can take the physical world and infuse it with artificial intelligence. So when you think about video glasses and the ability to constantly process live in real time what is happening in the video feed. When you think about any movie, any YouTube video, any image that is on the internet, and being able to extract insight from it, yeah? So taking a data graph that is a picture, not so it's a vectorized picture, or it's basically a picture there. And if you would be able to read a data graph and create an explanation and prediction on what is on the data graph without any text, yeah? If you can look at the image and understand that image, that is super valuable. That is what, that's the dream of every executive on the planet. Is I take a picture of a graph or of a data set, and then I instantly get insight of what that data set means, right? And you can think about taking a picture of the, when you fill up your car with petrol, and you see the price of the petrol and how much liters, and if you can analyze that picture instantly, extract insightful data. That's just like, everyday use case. Taking pictures of prices, taking pictures of products. So that's one way. And then the other way is, which I will not get into that much, is when you generate images and then you create stories around them. So we've seen a lot of this happen during our last hackathon of Stable Diffusion AI, where people use text models and large language models to, first of all, generate a story, and then they connect image generation to that story. So one is understanding image, and the other side of it is generating the image. So you use different technologies for both of these use cases. So I think you need to figure out first which use case do you want to generate images, and then use the applicable technologies, which again you.
Okay, we're running out of time, but there is one more question which from chat which I found really interesting. Pavel, hackathon-related question. Should someone with no experience register for any of LabLab's hackathon?
So the answer is 100% you should register. Come on. So 100% you should register because what you find is other people that have some experience and you can learn from them. But more importantly, you might actually have knowledge and expertise that is crucial to solving a problem. It might be business knowledge, it might be specific domain knowledge, you might be a or you might be a doctor, or you might be a gardener, and your industry has a problem that you want to solve. This is why this technology is so great, because you can go in, find people that understand how to solve this with technology, and then you can learn together how to create a great application or a service or a product based on this. So I would say without a doubt, if you have experience, you don't have experience, you must join a team, and you must start to ask questions, because whether you like it or not, artificial intelligence is here to stay. And as I said in the beginning, it is a wild ride. So either you are buckled up, so you're part of our, you're with us and you're building with us, or you're completely, without a seatbelt in a speeding bullet train, and who knows what's going to happen. So I would say that, there's wild bears this side and there's LabLab this side. So definitely LabLab, not wild bear.
Also, I would just add one thing to what you said, Pavel, that also people are growing within the community. We have many people who took part in one of our hackathons, let's say in September, and they are taking every month or every 2 weeks part in another one, and they are learning, they are growing, they are creating more and more solutions, which will, some of them for sure, become as you said, millions worth startups. So just this building community, being with like-minded people, and just to underline what you said during your presentation, just becoming a builder within LabLab AI.
Yes, yeah, a builder. You're a builder for life, right? You start with a snowman, you finish with a AI that recognizes, tumors in radiology pictures. So yes, definitely start today. Sign up.
Thank you very much, Pavel, for this really interesting talk. Right now, we will continue with the second part of it, of our workshop. So I want to greet Arjun.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi. So
Hi, everybody.
just a short introduction. As I said before, you're a data scientist. You were a winner of our Cohere hackathon. You are also a mentor during our LabLab AI hackathons. And today you will tell us about some tools, some solutions created within AI with AI tools. And actually, I'm pretty thrilled to hear this talk, and stage is yours.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to help non-technical people learn about the AI tools that they can use right now in order to improve at their jobs or to just build something really interesting. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, can everybody see my screen? All right, beautiful.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So I just want to give a quick intro to myself. I am an early career data scientist. Previously, I was lead data scientist at a startup called Spico, which had over 100,000 downloads and got App of the Day in 2021. I have some research experience in applying document embeddings to research abstracts, which is where I got started in understanding natural language processing and other forms of AI. And I'm currently looking for my next opportunity. And what happened was I actually got laid off earlier this year. But when I did, I started learning more about natural language processing technologies and AI and speech recognition on my own. And I ended up entering the LabLab AI hackathon and winning the whole thing. After that point, I realized the power and potential of the modern developments in AI and especially natural language processing, and that gave me a lot of passion and inspiration for it. And today, I'm here to share that with you all, but especially for the non-technical folk. So maybe this is you. You want to use AI, you don't really have technical experience, you just heard about the developments in AI and news stories or things like that. You might not have the time to learn how to code from scratch or to build neural networks to do all that kind of stuff, but you already have some competency in some fields. Maybe you're a marketer, or maybe you create art, or maybe you're very good at business development and identifying business opportunities. So you have some skill set, even if it's a little bit, you have something that you can go off of. My argument today will be that you will be able to leverage AI in order to make yourself better at that skill set or even completely different. So today we're going to focus on different kinds of tools that you can use that will increase your productivity and accelerate your competency in the skill sets that you have with AI. This brings me to my next point, which I will call the hilariously boring thesis of modern AI. Most AI is intended to multiply your existing skill set or to accelerate your existing workflows. And the reason why this is hilariously boring is because it dampens the idea that AI will talk to you and create fantastical new ideas or anything like that. While there are models that will do that and will get close to that or imitate that, we're not at the point where we've achieved like actual intelligence in an artificial AI. What we're actually really good at doing is creating these technologies that will get you 80 to 90% of the way there for some task, like creating something novel or writing something novel. But human intervention is still necessary in order to get to completion of that task. And that part, that idea can be kind of underwhelming or boring, but it is hilarious at the same time because of how much of the work we can actually get done and how close we get to actually completing that task in the first place. So it is not the case that AI will take your jobs. Actually, like Powell said earlier, AI will probably get you to do your job faster in a way that's better for you to focus on the fun parts. Now, I've divided this talk into 3 sections based on different skills that people might have. And in the spirit of the season, it's going to feel very much like a shopping list for a wish list if you're shopping for somebody for gifts for Christmas. So first, we're going to start with people who are business oriented. This includes marketers, business professionals, people who work in advertisement or social media. So if you're making a lot of social media content, and people who are leaders or managers. So you're presenting a lot, you're in a lot of meetings, you work with a lot of people. You can still benefit from AI, and I'm going to present a bunch of different productivity tools that you can use today in order to get better at these things. The first tool I want to present is Grammarly. It's a very popular tool. It's the friendliest AI editor for your writing. What Grammarly is that it's an extension that you can download and install on your computer and almost all of your devices. It will not only autocorrect, which is something that everyone is very familiar with, but it'll also offer semantic corrections for your writing. So if you want to change the tone of what you're writing from something that's more formal to more friendly, or if you want to reduce, you want to change the other way around, you can do all of these things. One of the things that I've actually used Grammarly for a little while, that it could do is that if you have an enterprise or a business, you can actually sync tone across the business with regards to how you refer to your business. So if there's a standard word that you all use to refer to the company, Grammarly will detect that and correct that across the business so you can maintain consistent style, which is actually very interesting. So you're writing a lot of copy and you need some assistance and need some acceleration in editing that copy. Grammarly is one of the best tools that you can use to get started doing that. The second tool I want to present is almost like an improvement or a different sector in content writing. Quillbot is actually a tool that will help you write your content. So not only will it offer some form of autocorrection and some sort of semantic correction, but it'll actually create an environment for you in which you can start writing what you want. You could rephrase things that you've written into more detail or less. You could transfer styles from things that you've written into something that's more creative or something that's more formal, which is really fascinating. And it aims to serve as a sort of co-writer, someone who sits next to you and helps you figure out what you need to do. And I think this is perfect for anybody who might be writing like a really long blog post, but you're not sure what to fill up a certain section with, or maybe you have a set of ideas that you want to go into more detail to, but you need some help thinking about what types of things you should describe inside those ideas. Or maybe you're writing a bunch of different marketing copy and you want to make sure that marketing copy has really specific tones for really different audiences. You can use a tool like this in order to do that. Great for people who have to write lots of content and actually need help pushing out that content as fast as possible. Jasper.ai is a really interesting content generation tool that's really just specific toward marketers. So the previous tool, Quillbot, is kind of for anybody who's writing anything, but Jasper is really for people who are making social media, emails, pitches, ad copy, even Instagram captions. This is a problem that I run into a lot. I run my own art page and I hate coming up with Instagram captions. So using Jasper to help figure out what you should actually write is a great way to do that. Recently, Jasper actually incorporated the capability to generate images as well. So if you need to come up with stock, quote unquote, stock photos for an Instagram post, and you also need to come up with a caption, you can do all of that inside of Jasper using that technology. A fun fact about this app is that it actually works in over 25 languages. So you don't have to be in the US, you don't have to be an English speaker in order to use Jasper. You're able to use this technology using over 25 different languages. So you can accelerate the speed in which you generate this type of copy. But let's say you're not a marketer and you're actually just in a lot of different meetings. Maybe you're higher up in an organization, or you just really like coordinating different kinds of teams. You're going to need a way to keep track of all that information. And what I usually do is I write stuff down, but my handwriting is incredibly messy. So it's almost impossible for me to go back and look at and actually see what I had written down earlier. Otter AI solves this problem by supercharging your meeting notes by creating a transcript of the video call meeting that you're in, and also creating a natural language summary of the stuff that has happened inside that transcript. So what's nice about Otter.ai is that it actually links in with your calendar. So you can start the app, you can open the application and start your meetings inside the application, and it'll automatically start transcribing. Create a transcript, you can share it to everybody. And of course, because it's a transcript, it's searchable. So if you had a meeting that you talked about something like a month ago, you need to remember it, you can just search all of your transcripts at the same time, get that information back, and suddenly you're not spending time re-listening to recordings of meetings or talking to coworkers to figure out what actually happened. You have all of that information at your fingertips, so you can accomplish what you need to do a lot faster. Of course, maybe it's not the case that you're in the meetings or maybe it's not the case that you're in the meetings listening, you're in the meetings giving the presentation. So I want to present one more tool that's really close to my heart. It's called Speako. I actually used to work for Speako, and I really appreciated and loved the application that we had built. It's an AI public speaking coach in your pocket. So maybe you give a lot of presentations, but you don't really know how you should improve the way you deliver those presentations. Or maybe you say a lot of filler words like or maybe you're working on your intonation and how you vary it. Maybe you sound really monotoned. Sometimes you can hire a speech coach to help you figure those things out, but that can be very
Actually, I think
very expensive and in the application for your speaking skills. So, hello?
yes, there was a 20 seconds lag. So if you could just
Okay.
restart.
Yeah, no problem. I'll start over. So Speako is an application that's designed to improve your public speaking coach. It's kind of like having a public speaking coach in your pocket. So instead of going out and taking classes, you can practice giving presentations using your iPhone, and you can even practice taking lessons and coursework inside of the application. I used to work for Speako, and I loved using the application, and we would get users all the time come back to us telling us how much it improved their public speaking skills and how they can now scale their ability to practice because of all the recordings that they can make inside the application. So highly recommend if you're in a lot of meetings or you have to give a lot of presentations, or maybe even if you're practicing to give your pitch for a LabLab hackathon. This last one absolutely surprised me, and I kind of only found this out when I was making my pitch for the LabLab AI hackathon and for this presentation. But Microsoft PowerPoint actually has a lot of AI tools inside of it. every single formatting thing that I did in this slideshow, I actually used Microsoft Designer for, in which it automatically suggests ways to format the text inside of your PowerPoint, which saves me lots of time because I'm terrible at formatting. And it actually semantically figures out what you're writing. So when I put Microsoft Designer inside of the PowerPoint slide that I was making, it figured out that it might be cool to have a little photo drawing of an artist in order to convey that information. So that's an example of an AI tool that's located inside of a product that most people are familiar with. Now, let's say you're not a marketer or a business person, but you're a creative and you want to use AI tools. So maybe you're a graphic designer, you make lots of content that way, or you're an artist, you paint or create physical content, or you make lots of video. So you're editing videos, you have a background and special effects or something like that, or you just love taking videos outside, or you're a photographer, or you create content otherwise, like maybe you like creating podcasts or making presentations or writing some sort of copy that's not necessarily in a business context. You can still use AI to benefit. However, I would really like to bring up an important point that you should proceed with caution, especially with art creation. There's a lot of controversy surrounding using things like Stable Diffusion to specifically generate art and then sell it. So my 3 cents are: one, you should do your diligence whenever you use an AI tool to create art and then sell it. Understand like how that tool is made and what the current issues are using that tool. The second is, if you're going to sell stuff with the tool, I would just say to wait and see to see what the legal landscape has declared regarding that process before actually selling. I think it's okay to just make stuff for free right now, but when it comes to selling, you should proceed with a little more caution. And the third thing I would say is to be mindful of any failure modes of the technology or the art that you develop or the things that you develop using these tools. So if there's a way that these things could be very harmful, you should at least have a justification or think about that before using these things. Okay, having said that, let's talk about the tools. The first is the most popular. This is Stability AI's Stable Diffusion. It is a text-to-image model generator. Need I say more? Everyone on the internet's been making incredible images using this model, where you can just go inside the model, type in some prompt, and it'll create art for you. Absolutely fantastic, and a good way to hot start a lot of art development. So what some people do is that they actually create their image, write a prompt, and then take that image, edit it, and then have some sort of final image. That way you're getting 80 to 90% to there of whatever workflow you have with your art creation, and then you can just do the remaining 10%, save a bunch of time in order to create the art that you're interested in. The second tool I want to bring up is called Descript. This one is particularly useful if you do a lot of video editing, specifically of people who are talking in video. So if you do a lot of interview videos, or you do a lot of like movies, if you're making your own content where people are doing a lot of conversation, what Descript will do is that it will transcribe all of your audio. It'll arrange it in semantic blocks. So conversation 1, conversation 2, or point 1, point 2 by timestamp. And then you can attach things to those timestamps and edit them as if they were like slideshows inside of a presentation. It's very interesting. It's very intuitive. And it even has more intelligent AI features on top of that. Descript will automatically remove filler words in any audio that you're using. It will upgrade your sound quality. So it has AI models that will take whatever recording you did with whatever microphone and make it sound like it was recorded in the studio. And it'll even if you forget a word in some recording that you did and you don't want to retake the whole shot, it will seriously clone your voice with you saying that word, insert that word, so you don't have to retake the shot, which I think probably saves so much time for anybody who makes lots of videos. So highly recommend using Descript in order to reduce the workflow with that. Another video editing tool that I think is absolutely wild is called Runway.ml. Runway.ml, in short, lets you warp reality inside your videos and images. So it's a standard video editor. You can do everything that you usually would be able to do, but it has additional features that are powered by Stable Diffusion-like technologies. For example, image inpainting. So if you have some image inpainting an infinite image, which is where if you have some image or a shot, you can extend that image and generate like that image boundaries in order to make it bigger or more detailed. One of the most fantastic features that this video editing software has is called Erase and Replace. My mouth dropped when I saw this, but they have a demo on their website where someone is standing on top of a soccer ball with their foot on top of a soccer ball. And inside Runway ML, you can take a paintbrush, draw over the soccer ball, mask it out, write a prompt for what you should replace the soccer ball with, and it will replace something underneath that foot with a completely different image. So in their demo, they changed an orange soccer ball to a blue soccer ball with a different texture. And it's just absolutely amazing. So instead of having to come up with that yourself, you can use AI and prompting in order to make that process a lot faster. Finally, I want to bring up one more company for the creatives in this list. 12 Labs is a new company. They've just raised a big round, but even though they're currently in closed beta, the technology that they're developing could be very relevant for a lot of creatives. It allows for a semantic search across your videos. So imagine doing a Google search, but usually when you do a Google search or a YouTube search, it's matching keywords, what you've written, to videos that are coming up. With 12 Labs, they've developed models that can semantically understand your video. So if you're looking for something like show me two people playing tennis, it will pull out a scene from that video of two people playing tennis. It doesn't require transcription. It semantically understands what's happening in scenes and shows you that information back. This is relevant for content creators because you might have tons of video clips everywhere in some database somewhere, and you want to make that searchable so you can find those clips and make more video content faster. Again, this is in closed beta for now, but I keep my eye on this company because I think it would be super useful. All right, our last category is for the budding technologists who, yeah, maybe you aren't technical right now, but maybe you're really still curious about getting a little bit of technical expertise and you want to understand what it would look like for you to get started building really soon. What's crazy is that a lot of models and a lot of companies have come up surrounding this fact. They want to empower people who have some coding knowledge. They might not be expert data scientists or MLEs, but they can still do a little bit of coding in order to get to where they need to be. So you might be curious about coding. You might be really good at data collection. So maybe you have a task in mind and you're great at figuring out how to get data for that task, but you're not great at figuring out how to build that model. Or maybe you're very, very good at writing very descriptive entries for things. And maybe you can use that in order to do prompt engineering, which is something I'll explain in just a moment. GitHub, which is a popular code repository website, people store their code on this website, has created something called GitHub Copilot, which is literally like Quillbot, but for writing code. So you can use GitHub Copilot, ask it to generate entire blocks of code for you, and then you can edit the block of code to do whatever you want it to do. And this is great for the budding technologists because you might be learning about how to write certain functions. You can use GitHub Copilot in order for you to learn these things faster. And if GitHub Copilot makes a mistake, then that's a learning opportunity for you to figure out why it went wrong. And you can start using the internet in order to learn how to code things and do things a lot faster. I feel like if I was learning how to code, when I was learning how to code, if I had something like GitHub Copilot, it would make a lot of my pain points a lot easier and I would be able to get up to speed a lot faster. Something to definitely keep in mind. Cohere is a fantastic company that has basically taken the approach of building natural language models on themselves, and they've created APIs around those models so that you don't have to worry about building those models in the first place. All you have to worry about is figuring out a good use case for those types of models. Two big models that they work on. One is generating text. So this is very much like a GPT style model where you write some prompt or you ask the model to do something and it'll just generate text for you. This is where your prompt engineering skills can come into handy. So if you can think of a clever way for a natural language model to generate text that is useful, you can just mess around with Cohere without making a single line of code and then pass that to your teammates in order for them to build a product off of the prompt that you've generated. Really cool, highly recommend, and they also sponsored the hackathon that I won, so fair disclosure there. Again, we also have OpenAI, which we talked about earlier. They're behind more language models such as DALL-E and ChatGPT, which is the recent language model that's taking the world by storm, where you can ask it any question and it'll just give you some sort of response. It's a great way for you to mess around and learn about what these models actually do. Once you get some coding experience, you can use Hugging Face. It hosts a bunch of models for you that are pre-trained, so you don't have to worry about learning how to train models. You could even just pull these models down and use them on a downstream task, and it's completely free. So you don't have to worry about paying anybody any money to use these models. As long as you understand how to use them, you'll be good to go. All right, we went through a lot of different tools for a lot of different kinds of people. Want to say thanks for sticking around and learning about these things with me. And I hope that everyone finds a tool on this list that they'd love to learn more about, messes around with it. And I hope that it helps you complete the things that you already do a little bit faster so you can get in on the AI revolution as well. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Arjun. It was a really interesting pile of knowledge I know it was 20 minutes, and I know most of the tools or all of them, but I still learned from your speech. So thank you very much for it. And I have some questions from the community. Without any further ado, I will read the first of them.
Sure.
So, what do you do at work on a daily basis?
Yeah. So, funnily enough, I'm not currently employed right now. So, what do I do every day is nothing. But what I did do as a data scientist when I was working at Spico, for example, my responsibilities range from understanding user behavioral analysis. So, when we have our application, what are people doing in the application? What types of events that people trigger correlate to people subscribing, and what types of events people trigger correlate to people leaving. In addition, when I wasn't doing that type of work, I was working on developing our speech recognition modeling and our natural language processing capabilities. So one of the examples of the projects I worked on was building a model that could identify multiple speakers in a given audio stream. So this is important if you're recording an interview, but you only want to give feedback to one person. So can we find where the other person was speaking, take them out of the audio stream and pass that to the rest of the model? So it was a lot of different, some of it was like traditional data science, and some of it was like speech recognition, natural language processing work. So that's kind of like what I did on a daily basis.
Okay, another question from Twitch chat. What is the most efficient roadmap to get into AI?
So what I would do is, if you're a non-technical person, I would think about a skill set that you have. So maybe you really enjoy posting to Instagram in your free time, or maybe you really enjoy writing. Maybe you really enjoy thinking about businesses and how you can pitch businesses. Think about those skill sets and then try to match one of the tools that I've presented on this list in order to augment your ability to continue developing that skill set. So maybe you want to write more often. Maybe you've written one or two things, or maybe you wrote an essay in college that you were really proud about, but you never really returned to it. But you know you did a really good job on that. You can use one of these text generation tools or co-writers in order to get started continuing to write and continuing to get better at that one skill that you have. It'll help you build confidence, but it'll also help you push out content a lot faster, which is important for feedback. So I think you don't have to develop a skill in AI from scratch if you don't feel like being technical. You can just use one of these tools to get better. And of course, if you feel like getting technical, if you feel like coding, then I would just start learning Python, learning the basics of machine learning and deep learning, and getting started with a library like Hugging Face or with APIs like Cohere in order to get better.
Another question, any course suggestions for beginners? I mean, I will interrupt you before you answer because for sure I would recommend, as Paweł did previously, recommend joining our hackathons where with help of other participants, our mentors, and all of the tutorials provided on our website, you can start, you can learn, and you can grow. But do you have something, some other tutorials, or maybe you want also to mention your experience with LabLab hackathons?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think getting started, having an idea of something you want to build or getting started building something is a great way to learn. And one of the ways that I got started redeveloping my skill set in natural language processing was building a quick application in using the LabLab AI hackathon. So during the hackathon, I built an app that was aimed at helping people learn how to use image generation models. So at the time, I didn't really know how to use an image generation model. I knew you could type in text to get something out, but I didn't understand like how I should be typing in text in order to get an image that I really wanted in my head. I didn't know how to construct the prompt correctly. So what I did was I took Cohere's Generate tool and some of their other APIs, and I built an application that could help people figure out a more detailed prompt for what they want to create in their image generation pipeline. And I learned a lot doing that. I learned how to collect data for that prompt. I learned how to use Cohere APIs in order to see if my model was correctly classifying the data that I made. I learned how to do a little bit of prompt engineering by understanding how to pass text to Cohere's Generate API in order to get the text that I want out. And I also learned a little bit of software development by using Streamlit in order to create applications. And I wouldn't have an opportunity to do all of those things if I didn't commit to doing the hackathon. And it turned out that the project that I built was really great, and it was great enough for people to say that it was the best project there. So doing a hackathon is a great way for you to get started learning. If you have no coding experience, I would just suggest taking a course in Python in order to get some experience like writing coding languages and stuff. And after you do that, then you're pretty much good to go to think about the types of projects you want to work on and then figure out like where you want to do what you want to do or where do you want to go or what types of hackathon work to start with. So that's what I would recommend. Project work, hackathons are great, and learning how to code if you don't know how to code yet.
Yeah, so because in 3 days or 7 days, because right now hackathons are 7 days long, you have a working model, despite all of the knowledge and networking and community building you had. So it's like, except of spending 3 days on yourself, developing yourself and improving your career, there are no disadvantages, if and they are the disadvantage. Okay, I have another question from Twitch chat. Hi Arjun, in your previous job, did you collected the data labeled it fit into your project? And is it always like that for every idea we have?
Oh, okay. I think I understand what this question is asking. So do we always have access to labeled data or do we not have access to labeled data? So at Speako, we had a few sources of data. The first was just getting data from the events that people trigger in the application. So we had that source and that was always labeled. For the recording data, we only collected data that users said that we could collect. So every recording that you make, we would say, hey, would you like to send this to Speako? If you clicked yes, then we would have that recording. So we didn't have that many recordings to work with, which can be a problem with some models. However, now over the past year or 2 years, basically, a lot of companies have come up around the fact that you can use pre-trained models on small data sets in order to get something cool to come out. For example, the project that I worked on, Perfect Prompt, I think I only used like 200 data points of examples of prompts in order to create generative models, which is way smaller, like orders of magnitude smaller than what you would normally need for some model. So I think a lot of the workflows nowadays are find a pre-trained model that has done most of the learning for you, fine tune it on a really small data set that is really high quality and really representative of what you want to do, and go from there. And if your model isn't performing that well, then you need to collect more data. It is not always the case that you'll have labeled data. Sometimes you have to be creative with labeling your data, or you have to be figuring out tasks that are related to the ones that you're interested in order to leverage the data that you have. But definitely don't assume that you'll have labeled data whenever you're creating a project. You want to make sure you have that data first before you think about modeling.
Okay, another question. Is AI limited for now due to datasets?
This is an interesting question. So I think a lot of the AI tools that I presented today will let you work on things that are not data sets. So like creating your own content, so on and so forth. If you want to create like your own AI product, you will likely need some sort of data set in order to have a competitive advantage. You could probably do things like use a Cohere API and rebuild out like text generation, content creation, for example, like what Quillbot and what Jasper is doing. But the problem is that you're going to need some sort of competitive advantage. And the competitive advantage that Jasper and Quillbot have is that they have access to big data sets that do these things. They have access to big data sets, supposedly, of like ad data and social media copy and so on and so forth. So they can offer really high quality models there. So I think if you're trying to have like a competitive advantage, you're going to need a data set that supports that competitive advantage. But if you're just trying to provide a capability, or another exemption for this rule is if you have a fantastic UX UI design for a model that exists that no one has taken advantage of yet, I think that will be really powerful as well. In my project, Perfect Prompt, like I basically wrapped a generation model in a way for people to kind of see the output nicely. Whereas before it was not as easy to kind of do that in the way that I had presented. So that presents a little bit of a competitive advantage. So UX UI, maybe your own data set, definitely probably need if you're building your own tool.
Okay, thank you very much. And as we're running out of time, I will have a last question from our community. What hard skills should someone in your field have?
Yes. So hard skills. So if someone wants to work as a data scientist like I do, you really want to learn SQL. You want to learn a coding language that you do data analysis in, like Python. If you're interested in machine learning, you want to get familiar with the sklearn library. If you're interested in deep learning, you want to learn something like TensorFlow or PyTorch. Once you build models, you want to be able to deploy them. So you want to understand Streamlit or Gradio, at least for people to mess around with the stuff that you're building. And you also want a way to like manage all the stuff that you're building. So you want GitHub in order to upload all your code, so on and so forth. That'll get you like most of the way there. And then after that point, you got to think about things like monitoring your models and keeping track of them and updating them over time. And that stuff is kind of the second order amount of things that you would have to learn. But learning those technologies are pretty key. Also, another set of hard skills are background in statistics, right? So like if you're going to do a lot of data science work like I do, you need to know a lot of statistical modeling, like that would be covered in an intro stats course, but some other specialized knowledge like categorical data analysis, regression analyses, experimentation, A/B testing.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time, Arjun, and for your
Of course.
great talk. And is there something do you want to share with community at the end of our meeting?
Yeah, sure. I just want to say that, like Powell was saying at his speech, that AI is becoming really democratized right now. There used to be a point in time in which you needed a PhD in order to do things with AI. That is not the case anymore. You can learn yourself, you can build things, small minimum MVPs of cool things, and you can do that just by learning things on the internet. You don't even need a degree, right? Like you can watch YouTube videos, you can use LabLab AI content, participate in hackathons, learn on your own, get textbooks, and actually build things in a short period of time. So if you're thinking about doing that, just try it. If it doesn't work, then that's okay. But if it does, then you'll continue to build, learn, and grow, and that'll be really beneficial to you. So I really just want everyone who's watching this to be empowered and encouraged to just start building and see where you go from there.
Okay, so thank you very much once again for your time, for great talk, and for inspiring all of the people who are watching it. And do you want to add something, Pavel, as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, Arjun. It was a brilliant talk, and I really appreciate it. And we, both myself, Matthias, and Simon, are super happy to have you on. You did a great job. It was extremely knowledgeable and eloquent, and we would invite more people to join us. Next event coming up is Friday, OpenAI, Codex, GPT, free, so a bunch of stuff, and DALL-E 2. So we invite everybody to join.
Yes, so once again, as Pavel said, and as Arjun recommended, join our AI hackathons. There will be 2 more in December. So as Pavel previously said, the one which starts this Friday, and the next one, the last one before Christmas, it's next Friday. This will be 7-day hackathon, so a special event. Because you will have more time to learn, more time to build, more time to create a working models and projects. So we invite you to join and join our community.
Yes, thank you very much, Arjun, one more time, and it was great to see everybody. See you soon. See you on Friday. Bye.
See you on
Thanks,
Friday.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.